we'll be reviewing the magnificent slasher flick Hatchet, directed by Adam Green. Hatchet is a story about a group of tourists that go to New Orleans during Mardi Gras. One of them is just broke up with his girlfriend, so his buddies take him out to forget about her, more or less, and just go unwind and do what everybody else does when they go to Mardi Gras. Get fucked up, get laid, and come home. Have a good time. They go on, so the main dude decides he'd rather go on a haunted boat ride rather than endure what everybody else is when they go to Mardi Gras. They go on this little swamp ride, and little do they know that the swamps that they're strolling through just aren't inhabited by your normal everyday swamp creatures such as crocs and snakes, but it's also inhabited by one Victor Crowley, the local boogeyman, if you will. They're on this boat ride. It's him and his buddy that decides to go along with him. There's a guy that's posing as a prolific director that's got two chicks with him that are doing kind of like a Girls Gone Wild scenario type thing. It's totally lying his ass off just to see some titties. You've got an older couple that's going along with it, and then you've got a local girl that is pretty much a twat the whole fucking movie, and you don't really know why until 3/4 of the way, halfway through the movie, I guess. But you find all this shit out, and you kind of understand her pain. And you kind of grow a little more, a little more sympathy towards her. But anyways, man, let's get back to the story of Hatchet. From childbirth, Victor Crowley was deformed to the point where his father, played by Kane Hodder, who also plays Victor Crowley as an adult, kept him inside of his cabin, his little shithole hermit cabin, away from everybody else, brought him everything he needed, but didn't allow him to go outside because he was afraid that everybody would pick on him and talk shit to him, which more than likely they would. Well, one night while his father was away doing whatever it was he was doing, a bunch of jackasses decided to show up at the Crowley house, hearing all the stories about the deformed boy. They decide that they're going to go fuck with him and toss a bunch of M80s and shit at the house, scare him, whatever. Gets a little out of hand, though. They end up throw the firecrackers into the house, and it causes a fire. Well, Victor Crowley, being not only deformed, but he's also pretty helpless and pretty mentally handicapped, retarded, if you will, I guess. So he doesn't know shit. He's just sitting inside this burning house, running around, tripping out, has no idea how to get out. His father shows up, house on fire, trips out, grabs a big axe, runs up to the house and starts trying to chop down the fucking front door, trying to get in. But he doesn't know that his son Victor is pressed up against the door because he can hear his dad. He's trying to get out. He's trying to let his dad know. And his dad just keeps chopping away, and finally the axe goes through the door, hits Victor Crowley in the face, and kills him. This completely ruins his father. His father sees what happens and just secludes himself from the rest of society for the rest of his life. Never leaves the house, just sits in his chair, rocks back and forth, and cries himself to sleep every night. He's very sad, very upset at what he's done, and he's making himself pay and suffer in his own way. Flash forward several years, and you've got the tale of Victor Crowley. So, we get back to this group in the swamp. They have this little Asian tour guide that's talking with a Cajun accent, acts like he knows what he's doing, but in reality, this is like his second boat tour. Doesn't know shit. He's totally reading from cards. Doesn't know anything. They get, oh fuck, I can't remember the word, but they get drive up onto a rock. I guess bottom out, if you will, but they drive up onto a rock, and like, that's it, man. They're just straight up fucking stuck. They can't get out. So, they decide that, or the couple, the older man decides he's going to get out of the boat, grab onto this big branch, and he's going to try to push the boat off the rock. As he does this, he steps off into the water like a dumbass, gets attacked by a croc. A croc just mutilates the shit out of his leg. They get him back in, and they decide that it's better off for everybody to get out of the boat and trek through the woods to try to go get this old man some help. This is where you find out the girl's story, the twat story, if you will, that she basically, her father, and which is played by Robert Englund, I might add, and her brother go out on an illegal croc hunting thing the night before, and they never come back. So she goes out and search for him because she knows the stories of Crowley. So as they're walking through, she's explaining to him who she is, why she's there, in the story of Crowley. Be aware, be prepared. Now, at this point, realistically, not many of them actually believe her. They're just, whatever. They've heard this bullshit, you know. The guy that's going on the tour is really into it, though, because that's his deal. He's really into all of this horrific shit that he hears. He really likes it. So, they go off into the woods, and eventually, yes, they encounter Victor Crowley himself, who begins to hunt them down, and just straight up fuck the shit out of them, dude. I mean, he fucks them up bad. Some crazy ass, if I remember correctly, man, it's like he's got this belt sander type thing, and he just like sticks it to this one chick's face, and it's just, you know, just fucking burrowing into her face, man, and it's all you see is just gums and teeth, and it's just fucking bloody pulp of face. Ends up cutting people in half. I mean, pulls arms off. He's not a little fucking guy. Keep in mind, it's Kane Hodder, who's played Jason Voorhees in several movies, so as you know, he's a pretty big fellow. So that's where we're at. They've made it, and now they believe that Victor Crowley is actually real because he's killed several of them, and they're running from him. And Hatchet, really, dude, it's fucking loaded, man, with so much bloodshed for any horror fan that's just so into blood and gore. It's perfect. There's so much. It's so thought out. It's so intricately done. Very well done. Adam Green knows his shit, people. He's watched his movies. He knows what fans like. Now, on that note, is Hatchet something new? No, not at all. I mean, by no means whatsoever is the story of Hatchet something that you haven't seen. I mean, you can argue that several times while you're watching this, you're watching the Friday the 13th installment. But at the same time, you get surprised, and every so often, you'll see some shit, and you're like, oh, very nice, I like that, that's cool. But you keep getting reminded that no, it's not a new story, it's nothing new, it's more or less Adam Green's telling of the classic slasher flick. And I must say that he does a very fucking good job with it. The main guys in this flick and the girl that played Mary Beth do such an exceptional job, man. They really sell the shit out of their characters. I can't fucking recall his name for the life of me right now, but the main dude is the little douchebag from Grandma's Boy. You know, the whole does not compute, that dude. So when you're watching it, you kind of see a little bit of that character come into play, And it's highly amusing. Because you're watching this balls-out, gory horror flick, and you're thinking about this dweeb at the same time. But he does a good job of selling his character. He's an excellent actor. And he does a good job. The rest of the people, however, I don't know, man. The two girls showing their titties the whole movie, right there is enough for anybody, really. If you're going to be in an hour and a half horror movie and you're going to show me your titties every 5 fucking minutes, really? I bet your mama's proud. There's no acting involved, man. I don't even know who the hell they are. And I didn't even bother to go look them up because their acting was just shit. They were the perfect candidates for a slasher flick of having the first 3 or 4 people just getting fucked up. Perfect. They do a good job of dying. But as for acting, not so much, man. Not so much. They weren't that good. All in all, man, I gotta say that although Hatchet wasn't anything new, it was done very fucking well. Adam Green does an excellent job of executing his story and his retelling of the classic slasher flick. And he does a really good job, man. I was really impressed. The movie is highly entertaining. I've seen it several times. It's one of the movies that I can come home, I can throw it in at any given point in my day, and just enjoy watching it. I can fast forward to 38 minutes into the movie, pick up where and what's going on, and enjoy the rest of it, man. It's a very good movie. Like I said, there are glimpses of originality in it, but overall, it's just the same rehashed shit, just done better than most people. Honestly, man, that's the bottom line, and that's where I'm going to finish with this. It's a good movie. Would I recommend watching this average, everyday slasher flick? You're damn right I would. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm really anxious to see Hatchet 2. Adam Green is a very, very good director, and he's got a really good career ahead of him if he continues to produce movies like Hatchet. Go find it, man. I know I've seen it in damn near every, DVD video store I've been in. It's a very common movie, and it's gotten a lot of good praise from a lot of really good, really notoriety, really good, notable review companies out there, man. It's a good movie, but just don't expect anything new, please. Go into it with that outlook and that knowledge that you're not going to see anything you haven't seen before. You're just going to see the same shit done better than probably anybody else you've seen. Hatchet's a good movie. I do highly recommend it for anybody that wants to watch a good slasher flick. It's one of the 5 best slasher flicks I've ever watched. It is a good movie. I highly recommend that you check it out, man. It's a good movie. Peace.